talked about research questions as one of the important components, as one of the important elements of research. After research question, a research hypothesis is important. So in quantitative research, we have both research questions and hypotheses. But in qualitative research, we just have research questions and not a research hypothesis. The point is that a hypothesis is a conjecture or a hunch about the relationship between two variables, usually limited to the independent and dependent variables. It means that we do not, mostly, it's common, okay? It means that it may have exceptions. Mostly, we have independent and dependent variables as part of the research hypothesis. So we do not include the control variable. For example, in research hypothesis, sometimes we include, for example, we say Iranian EFL learners. This is a control variable. We include it in the research hypothesis, but mostly we don't. So it is a conjecture or a hunch. Hunch or conjecture means guess. It means that we guess that there is a relationship. We guess that independent variable has an effect on dependent variable. We guess that there is a difference between group A and group B in terms of a variable. So a hypothesis contains two or more variables that are measurable and potentially measurable and that specify how the variables are related. So this is one of the features of hypothesis. This is why we say in quantitative research we have hypothesis. So we have some variables that are measurable. By measurable or potentially measurable, we mean that we can have numbers, we can measure those variables. This is actually in line with quantitative research. In quantitative research, we have variables that are measurable, that can be given numbers, that we can have scores. And the research hypothesis is a statement of what is believed to be the case. For example, I say, I think there is a relationship between the student's anxiety and their scores in the final exam. I guess when the student's anxiety increases, their scores in the exam decreases. This is my hypothesis. This is what I believe is the case. This is my conjecture. This is my guess. I can't say, okay, there is a relationship between anxiety and the scores in the final exam unless I conduct research. To do research, to conduct research, I have a purpose. My purpose is to explore the relationship between the anxiety level of the students and their scores in the final exam. What is my hypothesis? We are going to see how we form hypotheses for different types of quantitative research questions. If you remember, we said the first, okay, before that, we have two types of hypothesis in quantitative research. One is called null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is neutral hypothesis. It means that it is not positive, it is not negative. So it is neither positive nor negative. Null hypothesis is that I want to do research. I don't want to impose my idea on the results. I think there is no relationship between something and something else. I try to prove the inverse. I will tell you what we mean by null hypothesis by giving you examples, okay? The second type is alternative hypothesis, or it is also called directional hypothesis. In directional hypothesis, we say there is a relationship because I observed something. But be careful. In research, in our field of study, which is education, English language teaching, applied linguistics, we have null hypothesis, which is shown by H0 or Hn, okay? And alternative hypothesis is shown by H1. So null hypothesis means a hypothesis that is neutral. So this is common in our field of study. We don't write alternative hypothesis. Why? to be on the safe side. If we say there is a relationship between variable A and variable B, if we do research and we cannot prove this, this actually falsifies our credit. This discredit our research. This lower the value of the study we conducted in education. Now, let's see how we formulate, we propose, we present the hypothesis. We said we have a descriptive research question. Okay, if you remember, the first type of quantitative research would be descriptive. The first type of descriptive was frequency. The question was what is the frequency of something? Be careful. For descriptive research question, which is the type of frequency, we do not have hypothesis. Why? Because it starts with what? What is a WH word? Be careful. For WH questions, we do not have hypothesis. Okay, this is a rule. For WH questions, we do not have a hypothesis. So we do not have a hypothesis for the descriptive research question, which is the frequency type. But for the rest of research questions in quantitative research, we have. So we can say for yes-no questions, for yes-no research questions, we have hypothesis. The second type of descriptive research question was relationship, if you remember. So we state the hypothesis like this. There is no relationship. This no means null hypothesis. So null hypothesis means negative presentation of hypothesis. We change the form of the question into a statement. So a hypothesis is a statement. It has dot at the end, okay? It's not a question. It's a statement. It is null. It means that it is negative. And for the descriptive research question, which explores the relationship between and among variables, it is like this. The model is this. There is no relationship between A and B. There is no relationship between the speaking strategy use of advanced CFL learners and their speaking fluency. So the pattern is like this. The question is there any significant relationship between variable A and B? I change the question into a statement. So I write there is. And for null hypothesis, I make it negative. There is no significant relationship between variable A and variable B. This is the descriptive hypothesis for the relationship research question. Is it clear? Okay, great. Now, let's see what about the causal actually research questions. This is the causal hypothesis. If you remember, causal hypothesis try to explore the effect or difference. For the effect, it is like this. I change the question into the statement. I write a strategy-based instruction has no effect. I make it null hypothesis, no effect on elementary students' reading comprehension. The second example, speaking strategy training has no effect on advanced students' speaking fluency. So this is the type of hypothesis which is null and it is a statement. So the model is like this. The question of causal, when it explores the effect, is like this. Does an independent variable have an effect on a dependent variable? And the hypothesis is like this. I change the question into sorry, it should be a dot here, okay, not a question form. So I change the question form into a dot and I write an independent variable has no effect on a dependent variable. So this is how I make it null. For the difference type, I say there is no difference. Very easy. Look, the question is like this. Is there a difference between group A and group B in terms of a variable? For the hypothesis, I say there is no difference. Okay, did you see how it happens? We say there is no difference. This makes it null. And for the predictive, we make the sentence negative. We say does not predict. And it becomes a statement. The pattern is like this. We say, does variable A predict variable B? For the statement, for the hypothesis, we say variable A does not predict variable B. This is the way we make the null hypothesis for that. Now, let me share the file, the previous file, okay? So that we make hypothesis for this. Look at this. Can you see the file? The PDF file I shared, the topic 1, article 1. Can you see that? Okay. So, we said this is the topic, okay, and we wrote the research question. The research question was, is there a relationship between Iranian male and female EFL learners' motivation and their identity? Now, can you write a null hypothesis for this? I want you to write a null hypothesis for it. Write the null hypothesis in the chat box. Aha, thank you. Good. All right, Avi. So we write there is no relationship and we write the rest. Or there is not any relationship. That's right. So thank you, Aya Abdul Karim. So we make it a statement and we make it negative to have the null hypothesis. Can you write a null hypothesis for the second one? We said the question was this: is there a difference between the interactionist and interventionist dynamic assessment models in terms of speaking sub-skills among Iranian EFL learners? Can you say, okay, آقای خلف مصطفى, for the topics I give you, okay, write the null hypothesis. Okay, I'm waiting for the hypothesis you want to write for this topic. The positive, no. For the hypothesis we would write, it should start with there is, because the question was, is there a difference? So the hypothesis starts with there is. There is. Thank you very much. There is no, not relationship, no difference. Okay, because it's a comparative type. It's the causal difference type. So there is no difference between interactionist and interventionist dynamic assessment models in terms of speaking sub-skills. Okay, so we make it like this. Now, for the third one, the effect of teaching lexical cohesion on improving. We said the question is this: does teaching lexical cohesion have an effect on improving IELTS academic writing task 2? Now, I want to write a null hypothesis for it. What is it? Write the null hypothesis. Yeah, that's okay, Abdul Karim. That's okay. So, can you write the null hypothesis for Article 3 here for this topic? You know, I provide you with lots of examples so that you learn this and you can answer the questions on the exam easily. Okay? So that you understand how variables are different, how research questions are formed. There is a strong relationship? No. Aha, for Davi, for the research question of effect, we start the question with does. Okay, so does. We say, does A have an effect on B? So the question, the hypothesis would be A does not have an effect, or A has no effect on B. Okay, this can be the hypothesis. So we would say teaching lexical cohesion has no effect on IELTS academic writing task 2. The hypothesis is like this, okay? The null hypothesis. No, we do not have positive hypothesis. We said we have two types of hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. In education, in our field of study, English language teaching, we mostly have null hypothesis. We make negative, okay? And then we confirm it or reject it. For example, I try to teach the students lexical cohesion. I said, teaching lexical cohesion has no effect on improving IELTS academic writing. I teach them lexical cohesion if it proves that it improves IELTS academic writing. I say I reject the null hypothesis. If lexical cohesion cannot lead to improving IELTS academic writing, I would say I confirm the null hypothesis. Is it clear? آقای هانی عقیل, you want to talk? آقای هانی. Okay. Well, so آقای محمود رقده, is there a relationship? This is not for this topic. The topic explores the effect, not the relationship, okay? So because it is the effect, we can say, is there any relationship? We should say, does lexical cohesion have an effect on improving? This is the question. The hypothesis would be teaching lexical cohesion has no effect on something. So we can't change a causal question into a descriptive one. They have their own purposes, huh? So let me give you more examples. Okay. So can you see the file? Can you see the file I shared? Okay. Look at number 3. Look at number 3. Investigating the effects of pre-reading activities on reading anxiety and reading comprehension of EFL learners, a case of drama versus video. So, can you write the research question for this topic? In the chat box, can you write the research question? When we have effect, immediately you understand. No, when we have the word effect, influence, impact, immediately you understand that it is a question that is causal. Okay? So the question would be, thank you, Alay Abdul Karim. Does pre-read, of course, because activities we say do, okay? Because it is plural. Do pre-reading activities have an effect on reading anxiety and reading comprehension of EFL learners? And when we want to make a null hypothesis, we say pre-reading activities have no effect on reading anxiety and reading comprehension of EFL learners. You see, the words can show us how we make the questions and how we make the hypothesis. Look at this one, number 4. Effects of multimedia-based per-reading activities on university students' development of growth mindset and reading skills. Can you write the question for this topic? Be careful about the words effect. So again, it is causal and it is about the influence, the effect. So you write aha, thank you very much. Do multimedia-based per-reading activities have an effect on university students' development of growth mindset and reading skill? And if we want to make it a null hypothesis, we would say multimedia-based per-reading activities have no effect on university students' development of growth mindset and reading skills. Thank you. What about number 5? What about number 5? What is the research question for number 5? Yes, آقای هانی عقیل, you want to, no, this is the entry. Okay, so number 5, what is the research question? We have the word impact. Impact is the synonym of effect. So again, this is causal and this is the effect type. So we would say, thank you, Ay Mahmoud. Does digital multimodal composition have an effect on L2 writing and writing anxiety? Thank you. And when we want to make it a null hypothesis, we would say digital bilingual multimodal compo effect on L2 writing and writing anxiety. Okay, so remember in the exam, write the complete sentence. Okay, now you write the short form, but for the exam, write the complete. Thank you, Ayhala. Thank you. Good. Now, look at number 7. The link between teacher support, boredom, and enjoyment among EFL learners. What is the research question for this? The word link is synonym to what? Can you give me the synonym for the word link? Link means? Thank you. Relationship. No, it means relationship. Okay? So, link means relationship. When we say link, it means relationship between teacher support. So, the question is descriptive relationship type. We would say, is there a relationship between teacher support, boredom, and enjoyment among EFL learners? And the research hypothesis would be, thank you, Abdul Karim, there is no relationship between teacher support, boredom, and enjoyment. This is one type. What about this? What about this one? EAP instructors number 9. Personal intelligence, language teaching, anxiety, and classroom management beliefs. There is no word. How can you understand what is the Good. This is, yes, that's right. This is relationship. So we will say, is there a relationship between EAP instructors, personal intelligences, language teaching anxiety, and classroom management beliefs? And the hypothesis would be, no, no, we do not present it as does have a relationship. We say, is there a relationship? Okay. So in the slides, I wrote the pattern. For the relationship, for the descriptive, we write, is there a relationship? And for the hypothesis, we write, there is no relationship. Okay, Hajim, it is good to write what is the relationship, but because we want to make a hypothesis, we said for WH questions, we do not have hypothesis, okay? So when we say what is the relationship between personal intelligence and interpersonal intelligence, it becomes a qualitative, research question. We cannot make a hypothesis. So it is better to write, is there a relationship? Okay, this is more common. And for the hypothesis, we would write, there is no relationship between EAP instructors' personal intelligences, language teaching anxiety, and classroom management beliefs. Okay, good. Now, I want you to do a task. Do you have the book? Do you have the book? Okay, so I take a picture of one page of the book. Okay, task 6.2 on page 87. Okay, now I want you to look at this task and write research questions and hypotheses for the topics that are given. Okay, so I send the file, I send the picture on Telegram group. All of you are on Telegram group. All of you are there. Good. So I take a picture of this page. Okay, there is a task 6.2 on page 87 of the book. I sent you the picture. For the 5 topics, I want you to write the research question and hypothesis and send it on Telegram group. Okay, so send it on group. Is it clear? Thank you. So I don't want to take your time a lot. I know some of you have been at the school in the morning and you want to spend more time with your family. So go to this task and try to do it after you study chapter 6 of the book, okay? So send the research question and hypothesis for these 5 topics on Telegram group by Tuesday. Okay, study chapter 6 of the book, listen to my lectures today, listen to the recorded file of the class, and send it up to Tuesday night. Okay, up to Tuesday night, 12 or 11, we can say. Okay, on Telegram group. Okay, so I will send the picture there. So I don't want to take your time now. So you can take a rest and spend more time with your family. And I know you want to be ready for the classes you have tomorrow. Am I right? In the morning you have classes. I give you 5 topics. You write the research question and hypothesis for each and send it on Telegram group. Clear? It's like a task. I want to make sure that you understood the research question and research hypothesis. Thank you very much. So I don't take your time more. So you can go and study and spend the rest of the night with your family. Thank you very much for your cooperation and your attendance. So I will record the files of the 7th and 8th chapter. I will record the file on LMS and I will send you on Telegram. You can watch the files before the exam. Study chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the exam carefully. Listen to my lectures, watch the recorded files of the classes again, and be ready for the exam. See you on the exam session, inshallah. Okay? Hope you have nice trips to Iran and you try your best to get good grades. Thank you very much. So have a nice time. Goodbye.